Hello y'all, welcome to Pisces Mountain Farm. My name is Valerie and I am so happy you're here hanging out with me. I am getting ready to go out of town this weekend to a music festival, but before I do so, I'm going to show you some pretty things that are in bloom, and I'm going to show you the rest of the tomato varieties I got planted. This isn't going to be a full garden tour. I'm just going to pick up where I left off on the last one. So with that being said, let's just get started. So I've got this pretty columbine in bloom, this scabiosa that's perennial, and some beautiful orlea. I've had this beautiful peony just open up. Bloody Mary nasturtium. Kroshka nasturtium, saved seed nasturtium, saved seed nasturtium that's fading, my magnolia tendril peas finally putting on blooms. This nasturtium says cultural pink, but it looks more red. Tip top rose nasturtium. Look how orange this one is. There's just no way to pick it up, and it's even in the shade. And the sun, it's almost blinding, but this is Empress of India nasturtium. My widow's tears in bloom. It's also called Job's tears. A backup shot of that. They need weeded around. I have lots of beans popping up since last time I was here. We are now at my top bed, and most of these varieties I went over already, but I'm just going to show you the new ones that I planted, and we will go from there. I did stuff a couple of calendulas I did put a couple of calendulas in a couple spots just to tuck them in. I needed a place to plant them. As you can see, there's one over there as well. They're just randomly mixed in this area. This back row over here is the row that I planted, so let's go over the rest of those tomato varieties. Right here we have a Kajari melon, and I stuffed another calendula. We have a Vernus sage mix, that's a cherry. We have Tigerella striped tomato, and this is a trial tomato. Another Vernus sage mix, Vernus sage art mix. Ildi, that was yellowing, but look how green it's gotten since I've planted it. Crovarese, Crovarese, and that's a cherry. Sunray, that's a cherry. Big white pink stripes tomato, this is another trial tomato. Honeycomb hybrid. Evil olive. Brad's atomic grape. Sun gold. Cindy's West Virginia, purple bumblebee, and green grape. I also planted some cotton here. I'm not sure if it's green or brown, but it's one or the other. Alright, that's all of our tomato varieties that I have planted out for now. I'm not sure how many varieties there are, or even how many tomato plants I put in the ground. I may get a count later, I may not. I just know it's a lot. We are over here on the outside of that little screened-in area that we were just in. Fenced in. See, this is an old greenhouse frame that you usually see in the background. And I planted a couple of vines right here. I can never remember what that one's called, but it gets a red flower. And then that in there is a cathedral bells. So they will grow and climb this. What I actually came over here to show you was I planted these beds right here. Whenever I planted these beds, I had no intentions of planting them yet. But do you guys remember all those little tins that I had out in front of my greenhouse that I'd started some plants in? Well, a lot of those starts ended up being weeds. And I noticed that they were all looking the same, so I went and weeded the little tins. And it left me with some little plants that were actually what they were supposed to be. But because I had pulled all those little weeds out, they basically either need to be repotted or planted. So I decided to just come up here and weed this area real quick and plant them, because most of them, if I'm not mistaken, are deer resistant, so they shouldn't have an issue being planted out here without protection. But I've also had things eaten by deer that they weren't supposed to eat, so we'll see. I've got some celosia across the back. I have a straw flower. I have some zinnias. And then these are seed petunias. So all along the back are celosia, straw flower, zinnias on either side. Oh, I do have some gomphrena in here too. So there's some gomphrena in here, and then some homegrown petunias. So the next little area is over here on the other side. And I just planted it exactly the same way. Excuse me. There's celosia in the back. A straw flower. That both beds got a single straw flower because I only had 2 left. A queen lime zinnia on either side. I don't know what it is. It's mixed. Some gomphrena. And some petunias I grew from seed. So I do have some passion fruit vine and some grapevines planted on here. But they're not real. The passion fruit was from seed, so it's just now starting to mature and get big where it's going to climb. And the grapevines were bare roots, so they're just starting to come up. There's really not much to show on here yet, but hopefully it'll get grown over, and towards the later part of the summer it'll look pretty and I'll have something to show you. I do have a couple of annuals I'm going to stick on there, such as a balloon vine. But I do have this one thing over here starting to bloom. It's a climbing rose. It's not very big. I just put it in the ground last year. But it is so very pink. But it's so bright and so cheerful. And like everything else, I do need to come weed this area. Things are slowly getting weeded. A few days ago, that part wasn't weeded. It has been very hot, and we have not had rain here in so long, so everything's looking dry and crispy and needs a really good water. What I'm really wanting to show you is down here. Let's see. Let's go on these tomatoes. Starting right here. I have flowering Thai basil. I have cinnamon basil. Or no, that was, sorry. I have mammoth basil. I have cardinal basil. I have dark opal purple basil. I have cinnamon basil. Lettuce leaf basil. This is purple ruffles basil. And once again, anytime you see last on one of my tags, that means I've planted the last of my seed. Let's see. I've got purple stem tulsi. Licorice basil. Emily basil. Black granate basil. Kapoor tulsi. And last but not least, Genovese basil. So, starting from around there to there, and this whole field is nothing but basils. Okay, y'all, I know this is short, but I'm getting ready to leave out of town, and I wanted to put up a video for you this week. And I wanted to show you the rest of the varieties of tomatoes I planted. And I know this one isn't nearly as long or as intense as my last tour, but I did want to include those last few varieties, so if you were interested or wondering, you know what else planted out there. My next video is probably going to be more about my trip, so I hope you enjoyed that one. And I'm going to get off here so I can go edit this and get it uploaded so you have a video before I leave town. Alright guys, thank you for watching. I will see you next time.